I want to tell you how I first met Rene because it tells the story. I was a young lawyer and Rene was the opposing counsel, and everybody told these horrific stories about Rene and how mean he could be. And I thought, he can't be that mean, right? Well, he was. He was truly an asshole in the courtroom.
And he comes busting into the courthouse or the courtroom, and with the colorful language that he's been known for throughout his whole life, he said, "Who's the mother," something that rhymed with trucker, "that's looking for me up in here?"
You smell that?
Rene Rodriguez to me was not El Cucuy. To me, he was like my courthouse father, courthouse home, someone who guided you when you needed it. If you were messing up, he was going to let you know, like, hey, Cabron, you're messing up. And when you did well, he was also going to let you know, hey, you kicked some ass out there, and he was proud of you. And so sometimes when you're growing up, you're a small kid, you want to be like Michael Jordan, right? Playing basketball, or Bo Jackson playing football. But when you're in the courthouse and you're a lawyer, you want to be Rene Rodriguez.
It was 7:10 in the evening, the day of the election, and Joe Gason, Channel 3, came out and started to give out the results. He stopped and he said, we can also at this point give you the, for district attorney, we're gonna go ahead and call it. And he said, the district attorney is going to be Carlos Valdez for the Democratic Party. I was sitting in Mr. Vidauri's, his father-in-law's house. Mr. Vidauri looked up at me and he said, let's go. I said, Mr. Vidauri, where are we going? He said, you and I put up 300 signs and we gotta go bring them down. My son-in-law made history. They called the election within 10 minutes after the results came out, and that was only the absentee. His father-in-law told me, I don't know what's wrong with my son-in-law. He ran against the most sacred saint in the Mexican barrio, San Martin de Porras, was Carlos Valdez.
Somehow or another, we began talking about how I would do as a prostitute. And so I replied to them by saying that if I was a prostitute, I would charge by the pound because I'm not a tiny woman, and I thought perhaps I would make more money. And then I immediately said, and you two fuckers can't afford me. And Rene said, without skipping a beat, you think we can just split one of your balloons?
And one thing about him that he started inspiring me to always talk shit and not care about it.
All of the security people, all of the bailiffs, everybody would see him, and as we all know, Rene, hey, Gordo, hey, honey bun, hey, how you doing? Hey, brother. I mean, he was, and everybody would come and shake his hand and hugged him, and everybody knew him.
I was in the courthouse every day, and if you want to know anything, you had to talk to the little guy. I befriended the secretaries, the janitors, or you name it. I was our first name basis with them, and they're the ones that told me, I think there's some more photographs of that show. I issued subpoenas, I got them, and I looked at them, and then I saw these other ones. There was her blood, and the cops were walking all over the evidence. I mean, they were contaminating the scene. I was horrified. I mean, what happened was when they found Mr. Luna under her car, they figured they had the guy. It made sense. So nothing to shit. This is an easy one. But there's blood all over the place. So I did ask, why wasn't there any blood on it?
He taught me how to believe in myself, and he made me understand and gave me the confidence to speak publicly and speak in front of people. And he basically was the kind of guy that told you, yeah, fuck him. Just, you got to do what you got to do. Don't care or worry about what people are going to think. Be true to yourself, be true to what you believe in, and everything else will work itself out.
You have to have this attorney card to get into this part of the courthouse, okay? And they're stupid about to go in and out. And I guess Rene had let his assistant in, but something happened and he got a letter revoking his card privileges. And so I guess all the commissioners signed this letter saying he was not allowed to use his attorney card anymore. He had to go through security and his privileges were revoked. And he wrote back this letter, and it was like, fuck you.
Silly little bastard. It is incredible that a judge would first make a unilateral decision of guilt, then render punishment, and lastly, send a letter to the punished party requesting an explanation or a defense. How sick is that? A telephone call would have been an appropriate response to your concerns regarding my alleged violation of the established security checkpoint. It is called professional courtesy, or just being honorable.
He signed it on the bottom because I guess they had signed all the commissioners' names to his. He signed it, Rene Rodriguez, Happy the Clown. I can't even remember, like.
Sinceramente, Rene Rodriguez. CC, President, Corpus Christi Bar Association, whoever the F that is. Glenn Sullivan, the Department of Public Works. Jim Kalin, Nueces County Sheriff. Janeri Rivero, Ryan Perez, Patsy Perez, District Clerk. Diana Barrera, County Clerk. Laura Jimenez, County Attorney. Mark Skirka, District Attorney. Carlos Valdez, former everything. FBI, CIA, HBO, Happy the Clown.
Rene was very much about being straight and honest and saying what he meant, meaning what he says. And in the end, that's all there is. Because what I've learned at this, this ripe age of 60 is money is bullshit. The idea of prestige is bullshit. Worrying about what people think about you is bullshit. It's all about what you do and what you stand for and what your values are. And for someone like Rene, who understood that and projected that, he had no use for people who were stuffy and full of themselves. He had no use for people who were about material things and money, and because it's boring as shit to worry about that kind of stuff. And he had no interest in dealing with people who were apathetic about their fellow man. He's about what can we get done? How do we represent or empower the underdog?
We're competitors as far as cooking would go. We were just good friends, and I will miss him for the rest of my life. He's my hero, now and forever. Gordito, I love you today, tomorrow, and forever.
So Rene was my biggest supporter. As women political candidates, it's always difficult for us to get out in the political world, and Rene was our champion. And so I learned quickly that Rene was a go-to person for Nueces County. You're going to run for a position. So I met with him, and he took a liking to me and supported me right off the bat. He and Nelda were very gracious to me, helped me so much in the Nueces County area.
He was actually a good father figure in a way that's not your actual father, but he was someone that you can talk to, and he was very honest.
I always heard of Rene because he was like the badass. We all wanted to be like Rene.
I've known Rene in so many different capacities, as a mentor, as a myth, as a legend, as someone scary. But what I always remember is when you would see him, he'd say, "Hey, honey buns." I mean, he would call everybody that. And if you were referred to as honey buns, I mean, it was like you were part of his crew, or you were someone that, you felt you belonged. And there's so many things that he said in stories that I've actually used in court. I remember one time he said, and I was in a jury trial, and he gets all animated, and, older dudes, they don't put nothing in their hair, nothing. His hair is always just kind of out there. And he was like, and I was in a jury trial, and I was representing this guy accused of touching a small boy, and the boy was on the stand. And he says, he looks at the boy, right? And he says, "That man touched you right there, didn't he?" And he pointed at his client, and the boy says, "Yes." And then he points to the judge and he says, "And that man touched you too right there." And the little boy says, "Yes." And then he points to all the jury and he says, "And they all touched you too, right?" And the little boy says, "Yes." And it blew my mind that he's telling me this story. Think about it. You're talking about a kid who's accused someone of a horrible crime. But the way he said it and how vigorously he fought for his client, You know, it was just something that like, it took me by surprise, but in the heat of battle, I remember actually using that. I mean, I said that in trial, quoting Rene Rodriguez, you know, and he touched you too, didn't he? And the little boy said yes. It's just stuff like that that you kind of remember and focus on. And it's how he impacts you without even knowing you're impacted. It's weird. But for me, I think I'm the DA because of Rene Rodriguez. You know, he was always somebody saying, you know what? F those people, dude. You know, I don't know if this is an HBO special or for PG-13, but he would be like, fuck those motherfuckers, man. He's all, don't ever let them tell you anything. He's all, it's y'all's turn. He's all, we've had our turn. We've ran, you know, Shamsi's run. He's all, but now it's y'all's turn. And so that was one of the main reasons why I ran for office, because he said, you know what, it was my turn.